to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 horror movies to help you get into the Halloween spirit. And with that, let's get to the list. Everybody dies.
I didn't sign on for a second-degree assault party.
Murder Party is a 2007 comedy horror movie, written, directed, and shot by Jeremy Solner. It stars Chris Sharp, William Lacey, and Paul Goldblatt. A random invitation to a Halloween party leads a man into the hands of a rogue collective, intent on murdering him for the sake of their art.
When our masterpiece is complete, and the coroner's report is back in, it will read the cause of death. Art.
This is such a fun movie, a very underrated one. It is a very, very, very small movie, very limited budget kind of deal, but really well done. It is so funny. It's action-packed. It's intense. It gets gory and wild. It is way over the top and definitely full of Halloween goodness. So if you're looking for something to just relax and have fun with, this is a fantastic pick.
You have a beautiful imagination. It's going to get you into trouble one day.
Cobweb is a 2023 horror thriller directed by Samuel Bodine in his directorial debut. It stars Lizzie Kaplan, Woody Norman, and Anthony Starr. Horror strikes when an 8-year-old boy named Peter tries to investigate the mysterious knocking noises that are coming from inside the walls of his house, discovering a dark secret his sinister parents have kept from him.
Peter drew this?
Yes. Is he all right?
Peter has an overactive imagination.
So this is a fairly recent release. This came out last year, and unfortunately it really flew under the radar. It came out in the middle of summer last year and just had almost no fanfare. But little by little, it's gained some traction. And people that now have seen this are starting to talk about it, especially when it comes to a Halloween season kind of movie. Because it's full of the fall and Halloween vibes with pumpkins and leaves falling. It just feels cold and eerie. And in a lot of ways, it reminded me of the animated movie Coraline, which is one of my favorite movies to watch this time of year. Even though it's not horror and it's not really Halloween based, just the mood and atmosphere it has just feels perfect this season. And this movie has a lot of that same dark and creepy, moody vibe. It's really well shot and directed, and the cast do a great job. Just in general, it's a good time, and one that I think is a perfect pick for this time of year. So definitely add this one to your list.
Do you want to see my face?
Haunt is a 2019 slasher horror movie, written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It stars Katie Stevens, Will Brittain, and Lauren McLean. On Halloween, a group of friends encounter an extreme haunted house that promises to feed on their darkest fears. This is a fantastic, really creepy and disturbing horror movie that is just drenched in the Halloween vibe, because the whole movie takes place inside of a haunted house. But it gets pretty extreme with lots of gore and violence. It's very dark and gritty and uncomfortable. It's one of those horror movies that just makes you feel uneasy and on edge the entire runtime. I love the look and style of this. The mask that the villains wear are so creepy and really cool. I even have one of them up there, the little ghost one, but they're all interesting and creepy in their own way. But this also takes some fun twists and turns and keeps you guessing all the way to the end. So if you've yet to see this one, I think you absolutely need to check this one out.
If you're born in this town, you're cursed. I'm ending this tonight.
It ain't over.
Dark Harvest is a 2023 fantasy horror movie. Directed by David Slade, it stars Casey Likes, Emery Crutchfield, Elizabeth Reeser, and Jeremy Davies. In a small Midwestern town, a deadly annual ritual unfolds when the mythical nightmare Sawtooth Jack rises from the cornfields and challenges the town's teenage boys to a bloody battle of survival.
You've all heard the stories. We failed at our duties, and that black dust destroyed our crops, our lives. It must die, so we can live.
Here's another one from last year, and for me, this was one of the biggest surprises of last year, because I went into this with no expectations. I hadn't heard really anything about it, but it looks incredible. It's so full of atmosphere. It's so creepy and moody. It has a real Halloween time of year vibe. It's not exactly Halloween, but it feels that moody, foggy, cornfields, that kind of vibe to it. And the creature itself reminds me of Pumpkinhead. It looks a little different. It's definitely got its own thing going on, but there's definitely similarities. But it's well shot, well directed. It's surprising in ways and takes some twists and turns that I just did not see coming. Just in general, it's got a really great look and style about it that's so much fun to watch. And for me personally, it's now added into my Halloween season rotation because it just feels so much like what I want this time of year. So I think if you're looking for something new this season that you haven't watched a million times before, this is a great pick.
Get out there, Mr. Midnight. And you knock him dead.
Late Night with the Devil is a 2023 supernatural horror movie. Written, directed, and edited by Colin and Cameron Carnes. It stars David Dastmalchian, Laura Gordon, and Ian Bliss. A live television broadcast in 1977 goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms.
Please welcome Dr. June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the young subject of the book, Conversations with the Devil.
So this came out just a couple months ago, and there's been a real buzz around this ever since. There was some controversy to do with AI imagery, but it's a real minor thing and not anything I think that deserved the attention that it was getting. But mostly I think the buzz around this has been that it's a really good movie. And I'm a big fan of it, not only for the look and style, which is fantastic. I mean, it really had a nostalgic feeling for me, taking me back to growing up watching, David Letterman and Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, just all those late night TV shows that I grew up with. But also, I am a big fan of David Dastmalchian, and to finally see him have a leading role and to kill it the way that he does in this was just a lot of fun to see. But it's full of mood and atmosphere and just drenched in the Halloween vibe as well, which gets me so excited because I just don't think we get enough Halloween season horror movies that not only feel like the season, but have decorations, have pumpkins, have, costumes, and just are definitely, without a doubt, a Halloween movie. But I think this is a perfect addition to the Halloween season horror movies, and one that I definitely will be watching for many years to come.
The police have no leads, and the killer is still out there.
Idle Hands. The touching story of a boy and his hand.
Idle Hands is a 1999 comedy horror movie. Directed by Rodman Flinter, it stars Devon Sawa, Seth Green, and Jessica Alba. The plot follows the life of a lazy average stoner named Anton, whose hand becomes possessed and goes on a killing spree.
Hey, look at me! I'm in the face!
This is a raunchy stoner comedy horror movie from back in my teenage years, and I have just such love for it. It's nostalgic for me, but I do think the comedy and the gore and all of that really still hold up to this day. Yeah, it's not super gory, but the gore that is in it, I think is done well and is fun. The whole movie is just fun. It's not anything that you take overly serious. But I think Seth Green is incredibly funny in it, and so is Devon Sawa. I've always been a big fan of Devon Sawa, from him being in Final Destination all the way to nowadays and him being in the Chucky series. He's just a great actor, as well as underrated at how funny he can be on screen. And just like every other teenage boy at the time, I had a huge crush on Jessica Alba. She's just smoking hot in this movie. But it's so full of Halloween vibes. It has pumpkins everywhere, and it even has a costume party where Offspring performs. I mean, it's just a fun movie, and one that I think if you're from my age group will definitely take you back. But no matter what age you are, I think you can still really have fun with this.
Not like this. It's gotta run its course. Now it begins.
Pumpkinhead is a 1988 folk creature feature horror movie. It's the directorial debut of special effects legend Stan Winston and stars Lance Hendrickson, John D'Aquino, and Joel Hoffman. After a tragic accident, a man conjures up a vengeful demon called Pumpkinhead to destroy a group of teenagers who were responsible.
Looking for an old woman. She lives somewhere in the mountains hereabouts.
All she can do is take you straight to hell. You go home and you bury your boy.
So this isn't exactly a Halloween season movie, but I feel like, one, it's called Pumpkinhead, and I don't care who you are, when you think of pumpkins and you think of Pumpkinhead, you think of Halloween. So there's that. But also, it's just so moody and atmospheric. It feels like a haunted house. It feels like some haunted attraction that you would go see at Halloween Horror Nights. And the witch in it is just so creepy. The costume design is fantastic. And everybody out there that tries to say, oh, it's just the xenomorph, man, screw you. It's its own thing. Is there similarities? Yeah, but it definitely has its own look and feel to it. So don't come at me with that crap. Beyond that, it has a really heart-wrenching story. It's dark and twisted and very brutal in ways. So I don't know about you guys, but this is one of my personal favorites for this time of year. So I had to put it on this list. Terrifier 2 is a 2022 slasher horror movie, written, directed, edited, and produced by Damien Leone. It stars David Howard Thornton, Lauren Lavera, and Elliot Fulham. After being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to town, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night.
I'm telling you, it was him, Ellie. Right down to the little black dot on the tip of his nose.
So not only do I think Art the Clown is the best horror icon to come out in probably the last 20 years, I also think this is one of the best slasher franchises to come out in recent memory as well. But beyond all that, this is a fantastic Halloween movie. I kind of think that's lost in a lot of ways when people talk about this movie. It isn't mentioned a lot how seeped in Halloween it is. You have costumes, you have trick-or-treating, you even have a Halloween store. There's every element you could want when it comes to Halloween, you know, just drenching a movie. So there's that. But also the third in the franchise comes out this October. So if you've seen this, it's a great time to rewatch this and just get into the mood of it. If you haven't seen this, it's a perfect time to get on board so that you're part of the conversation when that movie comes out. But this movie is so gory, it's so nasty and brutal. It made me laugh in a sick, demented way that probably means I have mental issues, but you know, who doesn't nowadays? But it's just a blast. Everything about this movie, I think, is so much fun. I love the look and style of Art the Clown. I love the director's style, how it's gritty and grimy, but yet it's still polished enough. And even though there isn't a ton of story there, there is some. And I love Lauren Lavera as a final girl. Elliot Fulham's great as well. It's just a fun all-around movie. Everything about it, I think, is a good time. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. If you're not someone that loves gore and can handle some really, really brutal stuff, then you might want to avoid this. But if you're like me and you love the gore, especially when it has a sick, dark, twisted sense of humor like this movie does, then I think it's an absolute must-watch.
Hey, wait up! Wait up!
The Houses October Built is a 2014 found footage horror movie. Directed by Bobby Rowe, it stars Brandy Schaefer, Zach Andrews, and Bobby Rowe. 5 friends are stalked by a group of mysterious, disturbed individuals while on a road trip looking for the ultimate haunted house attraction.
I've rented an RV. I want to find the most extreme haunted house in the world.
What is an extreme haunt? I don't understand how far you really can go on without hurting somebody.
Every year, one of my favorite things is going to haunted houses. Anything from haunted theme parks like Halloween Horror Nights to just your small mom and pop college put on, whatever, little tiny hole in the wall haunted house. It doesn't matter to me. I love them all. But ever since I was a kid, there's always been those creepy stories and those rumors that in some little backwater town, you're gonna find a little hole in the wall place that's gonna go too far. And I think that's part of what keeps haunted houses scary, is just that idea that maybe this will be the one. You know, this will be the one where some guy has got a few screws loose and does something. And what's so cool about this movie is it started out as them just making a documentary, going around the country and documenting different haunted houses and talking to scare actors and just trying to get behind the scenes stuff. And then this idea hit them to make something along those lines, where they are a group out there making a documentary, but they decide they want to find a haunted house that is as extreme as you can get. And there are people out there like the Delaney Manor, I think is what it's called, where the guy goes too far, in my opinion, and really does, mentally anyway, damage people. There's even some really interesting documentaries that talk about different haunted houses like that. But this does a really good job of kind of taking that documentary feel and then twisting it into a horror movie. And it's cool because you're never quite sure on how far it's going to go and if what you're seeing is all part of the haunted house experience or if they're actually dealing with some real sadistic killers. And the sequel is good as well. So if you've never seen either of them, definitely check them out. Either way, I think this is a real hidden gem and one you should definitely check out.
Came here to be scared, right? I can't arrest people for doing their job. Welcome to Hellfest.
Hellfest is a 2018 horror movie, directed by Gregory Plotkin and written by Akela Cooper. It stars Amy Forsyth, Rain Edwards, and Tony Todd. The story follows a group of teens who are stalked by a serial killer while visiting a traveling Halloween carnival.
Hello? Hey, can you let me out of here?
So to end this list, like I usually do, I just put one that I think is a lot of fun, one to not take too serious, and something that's just great with some popcorn and candy. You know how we do it on this channel, but this one I think just fits that MO so well. And if you're talking about Halloween atmosphere and mood and all of that, nothing does it more than this. I mean, the place they're at, I've always dreamed of going to something that is just this incredible. As amazing as Halloween Horror Nights is at Universal Studios and Fright Fest and all these other Halloween carnival events, whatever, that happen around the country, I have never seen anything quite to the level that this thing is in this movie. And at its bones, it's just a fun slasher movie with a really cool killer, but it takes a few twists and things you might not expect. But beyond that, it's just the look of it. The fact that it is so drenched in Halloween. On top of that, it was written by Akela Cooper, who also wrote Megan and co-wrote Malignant. So you know that she knows how to write a fun movie. But like I said, it's not one to take too serious. It's just a fun popcorn kind of horror movie, but one that I think is perfect for this Saturday night. So do yourself a favor, pick one of the movies off of this list, grab your popcorn and your candy, and enjoy! And I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or you can become a channel member by clicking on the join button down there and help the channel out that way. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me talk about 10 horror movies to check out right now over on Tubi. And I'll see you guys next time.